My horse recently had a keratoma scare in her right hind foot. My farrier noticed the growth, and we had the vet perform x-rays about a year and a half ago. The vet saw a small growth in the x-ray, but it was nowhere near the bone, so wasn't concerned. She just said to keep an eye on it. Since the x-rays, my vet has left her practice. My horse is barefoot and sound, and we have been documenting taking pictures every time we trim her. My question is, what is a keratoma? How are we treated? And should we have more x-rays taken? And if so, when?
Okay. So whenever there's a hoof question, I turn to
Danvers Child.
Danvers Child. He's the SmartPak hoof health consultant and also a certified journeyman farrier. And he answered each of her questions. What is a keratoma? How are they treated? And when should we have more x-rays taken? So
He's awesome.
if you look for the term keratoma in the general medical literature, you'll likely find that it's simply categorized as a hardened area of skin, basically a callus or a corn. In the equine world, however, the term refers to something much more specific and much more involved, unfortunately. In our world, a keratoma is a benign tumor that forms inside the keratin-producing epidermal cells of the foot.
Okay.
And she kind of described where hers is. Okay. In many cases, the keratoma is cylindrical in shape and grows downwards towards the sole. In other cases, it's more spherical, orb-like, I would call it round, and tends to enlarge without descending, so it stays where it is. While keratomas tend to be slow-growing tumors, they do grow and enlarge. So she's right to be after it and taking pictures and documenting it. Eventually, as they grow and expand, they impinge upon the laminar and bony structures within the hoof, exerting pressure, and that's what's causing the pain and lameness. Now, she's not seeing that in her horse yet.
Correct.
Okay.
We're sound.
All right, so then how are they treated? Since keratomas are abnormal, aberrant growths, they can't really be treated. Instead, they require removal, and that's by a veterinarian. So in many, if not all cases, this is done as a standing procedure under local anesthesia. So that's great. Anytime you don't delay the horse down under general anesthesia.
Non-invasive.
Yeah, so the vet, well, it's invasive, but they don't delay the horse down. The vet removes a section of hoof wall to access the tumor and then remove it. The prognosis for full recovery is generally good, but a significant amount of aftercare is required to ensure that the hoof is protected until the new growth occurs, because you're opening it up to the elements. And so until that tissue begins to grow from the inside out, you have to protect it. So the last question is, when should we have more x-rays taken? Keratomas aren't always appreciable or seen on radiographs. Often, they don't evidence distinctly. He has a PhD in literature, so you can tell. I did not write this. He wrote this. So other forms of diagnostic imaging, like an MRI, CAT scan, a bone scan, or nuclear scintigraphy, will usually provide more productive diagnostics versus just like, I think she's photographing from the outside, and not looking in. These approaches, but they're more costly as well.
Of course.
Yeah, and so make regular observation more expensive than immediate treatment if you do the MRIs and the CAT scans and that much. So,
so even though she isn't seeing any issues with her horse currently, it is something that is going to continue to grow.
It sounds like it to me, although it's been a year and a half. So he, and he alluded to it's definitely slow growing, but she's right to keep an eye on it. And I guess somewhere in there, and she didn't mention working with the new vet since her vet left.
Correct.
Somewhere in there, I would arrange for a regular internal imaging, like a radiograph or beyond, besides just the documenting with pictures from the outside. So, and that's up to her vet. Maybe it's every year, maybe it's every 6 months, and then measure it and see what it's doing.
Because, like Danvers mentioned, it's not something that's going to grow out like an abscess or something like that. It's not.
Nope. Although there is a relationship, they think there's a link between abscesses and keratomas. Like keratomas tend to form where abscesses sort of injured the foot, and there's an area of not quite correct tissue development.
Okay.
It might be like the nidus or the starting point. The thought.
So definitely maybe a new vet to kind of come out and take a look at things since it's been like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she's working very closely with her farrier, which is awesome.
That's great. That's great. So.